What is up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? It is Grant. This has been on my mind. I'm sorry we haven't uploaded in a while. I've been out of town and I've had like swimming and stuff, and I've been thinking about this and I just keep holding it back. I need to talk about it. I know why LeBron went to Cleveland. I was hoping he would. I don't know why he's talking about being number 32. I would guess it would just be 23 reversed. Because, he has the whole 23 Michael Jordan thing. But I don't honestly care about that part. I know why he went. I said this. I don't think I said it to anyone. But I thought of it. I think the first thing he put into perspective is his wife. And that's that. I would think she would rather live in Cleveland. I think she loves Miami, but her family and his family is there. He loves Cleveland. There was a whole All-Star thing that I heard about with, him giving the trophy, kind of like as a passing down to Kyrie Irving. I think that played a part of it. I don't think the Dan Gilbert thing honestly had anything to do with it. I think that he never really thought of it. I don't even think he would have looked at the site ever. So, that's the thing. I think he took into the thing that he thought, he said, well, what if Chris Bosh does accept? He took well, what if D. Wade, does miss 28 games this year? We don't have a center, Chris Anderson's old. Chris Anderson didn't sign until, however long after LeBron signed. I'm not Chris Anderson's old, but he's not him how he used to be anymore. Chris Bosh is not a center. Shabazz Napier isn't going to be, the star, 20, 10, 10 assists every game. As a rookie, that's just not going to happen. I think he sees the promise in Andrew Wiggins. They do say that, Shabazz is like, he's like friends with Shabazz, but I don't think that had anything really to do with him staying. I think them drafting Shabazz is like him saying, well, they're trying, but they might be trying too hard. Actually, hold on. I'm reading. It just showed the Team USA and it did not say LeBron's name. That is interesting. I've actually heard that he is not fully accepted to play for them, but I'm getting off topic. I think Norris Cole, I'm surprised, honestly, that they didn't have anything in their reports about, Norris Cole trying to, get him to go back, because him and Norris Cole are great friends. They talked about, I heard them say, the awkward plane ride the night before with him and Dwayne Wade. I don't think it was awkward. I think he probably told Dwayne. I don't think that made it awkward, though. I don't think, that played any part in it. I think another thing was, they were talking about the thing where he stayed in Cleveland, and that kind of made him, miss it. I think that played a part into it. I think he really likes Andrew Wiggins. They said that could be the Scottie Pippen to his Michael Jordan. I don't agree with that 100%. I do hope they don't trade him. I think actually I would bet that he talked to Anderson Varejao. They were good friends. They played together the first time LeBron was in Cleveland. I think LeBron sees upside. I think the 2-year deal was so that they can play 2 years, get a team together, and then they can max out his contract with already, a roster together that they can, that's not maxed out, and that they give enough cap space for him to max out, a 5-year, 122 deal, and yeah, I think it's 122, or something like that, I think then they could probably go out and get Kevin Love next season, and that him signing a 2-year deal is going to save them money to get Kevin Love next season. they just signed Kyrie. That was probably a part of it. They couldn't give him the max because of that. They've got young talent like Bennett, like Wiggins. Although, actually, people are kind of saying, oh, Bennett's not young talent. Well, actually, he just put up a double-double in Summer League. Not many people do that, especially for an undersized power forward. Although, LeBron's an undersized center at times, but, I think, in a sense, it'll kind of be like a Westbrook Durant with, Kyrie and LeBron. They'll each have their moments, more of, Durant having more of Westbrook as LeBron having way more of Kyrie, because Kyrie isn't like a complete scoring machine. He's just a highlight film to me. He can get the flashy passes. He can make the cool things in the lane. I think we will miss the lobs. I think though this year we'll see less scoring out of LeBron. For one reason, me and one reason only, he's focusing on defense. I already know. Not saying he won't average 27 points a game, but like he did, I think he'll average 27, but I don't think he'll do that 10 straight games of. Although he didn't do this, but he can if he wants to. Like he has said before, he can be the scoring champ if he wants, and he'll even strive more to be more of an assist guy, more of a defensive-minded guy, to be a better team player, to build his team up, and not just completely carry it. There is the leader aspect for him, and that's part of it, is being a good leader in that sense, is focusing more on the defense, not as much as the scoring, trying to get these young guys like Wiggins, like Anthony Bennett to score the ball. I think, though, there's obviously pieces missing. I don't think Kevin Love is a piece missing. I just think he will be an addition to a championship, hopefully, team. I think they do need a better center, because Varejao is not young. He's not in his prime. He's a decent player, but there was a reason Andrew Bynum started over him, was a better center than him, and I think they should have kept Andrew Bynum. First of all, I know it's all that work ethic thing with him, but he said, in an interview, he said, why would I be playing basketball if it wasn't my favorite sport? He loves the game. Maybe it's just not his mindset to 100%, dedicate everything to it. People have different perceptions on how to take a favorite sport. Like, for me, I know for football, my perception on football is you work for football, 2-3 months before it, but you don't need to work on it year-round. My perception, though, for basketball is you can work on it year-round because it's an easier sport to, go outside, shoot some hoops for 30 minutes, take a break, then go outside and work on your dribbling. For me, especially for football, because I'm a center, I can't, go outside and just snap the ball and practice blocking because I don't have anyone to direct my snap to. I don't have, to make sure where my snap is right, and, to critique me on where my footing is. I don't have that, and maybe that's his thing, is his mindset, at least for himself, is that basketball is a basketball season thing, it's not a before season, and it may not be not during the games, and I'm not saying, the practice thing, I'm sure he works hard in practice, but he might have the mindset of, well, I'm saving my, best for the games, and that might just be his mindset, and coaches don't pick up on that. So I think Andrew Bynum would have really helped that team out. Their bench is good. I just don't think they really show it. I don't think they get to play. Like, if you're watching their D-League games, they're 3-0 for a reason. It's definitely not just Bennett and Andrew Wiggins, because in this game, in the game they played tonight, I'm talking on Monday. Well, now it's Tuesday because it's past 12. But the game that they played, Wiggins only had 10, and Bennett only had 14. So you can't say it's all of them. There's obviously, I don't know how to say this point guard's name, but they obviously have that, perception of they have a well-rounded team as far as a bench, and I think that this bench is getting better. That's really all I have to say. I think they can win a title. I just don't think it'll be now. I don't think it'll be next year. I don't think it would be the years later. I think they need, maybe it can be. So they have this year, I said no. They have next year, I'm saying no. Maybe it can be the year later. At the most, I think that's their best chance. Because right now they have a roster of, except for, the one more superstar, they have the roster that LeBron carried to the finals and to the Eastern Conference Finals. So they have that type of roster just with, one more superstar. When Shaq played, they said, well, Shaq makes it a big two. Well, Shaq didn't make it a big two because when he played for them, he was not in his prime, and he retired I think it was 2 years later, so he obviously was slowing down. So they didn't have a big two, they had a big one with they had a superstar, and people that were saying, well, he is a superstar. Well, he used to be a superstar in my eyes at that point, and he was therefore just, the star, all-star superstar. He was just a star. He was not the best player. He was their second best player, but by far not even close to their best player. And that played a part into them, not winning it all. And, LeBron had great teammates every year. He did have good teammates, Danny Green, Mo Williams, Varejao, obviously Shaq, Daniel Gibson. That's all I can think of right now. And they were good then. They're just, they weren't enough to win a championship. That's why San Antonio's a winning team, and that's why the Heat were a winning team, is they were a winning championship team because they had that, they had that third superstar to win the game for them. At the point last year when, the Spurs won because basically the Heat had become a big two in LeBron and Bosh, and, it was like how, like I said, the LeBron Shaq thing was a superstar and a star. Well, Wade had become the star, Bosh was the all-star, and LeBron was the superstar. They didn't have a good point guard, they didn't have a good center, because I consider Bosh power forward. They had someone retire, and they have a guy that's really close to retiring. They have another guy that's really close to retiring. They didn't play Greg Oden. Their bench was old in my eyes. That's the reason they lost. But San Antonio, yes, you're going to say they're old, but at the same time, they're not playing like they're old. The Heat play like they're old. Last year, they didn't, they weren't throwing the full court lobs like they used to because they weren't able to get up and down the court. LeBron was, and Chris Bosh were, but like Dwayne obviously can't. He's the oldest on the team, but he should be still playing like he's in his prime, and that's the only weird thing. They weren't throwing those full court labs. They weren't having those amazing hustle plays as much anymore. That was the problem, and the Spurs were. The Spurs have Kawhi Leonard, who is basically, to me, the new member of their big three with Tony Parker and Tim Duncan. You could say if you want they have a big four. I don't consider Manu a big three member because he's not consistent, and I know you could say that about Leonard, but Leonard has now become consistent as far as this season goes, and that's the only reason, he is now a big three. You have good players coming up like Marco Bellinelli, you have Bonner, you have Splitter, you have Diaw, who's, not exactly the young guy, but he's good. You have Green. They have a talented roster overall. And if you want to say, well, LeBron had Green too. Well, LeBron had Green when he was young. It's a Danny Green experience now. Not saying that, I'm not saying he's like that old, guy that's like not as good anymore. No, he's better. He's in his prime. And that's why Spurs won because they have a ton of players in their prime, and LeBron lost there because he had a ton of young players not in their prime. You have to have a mix, to me, to win a championship. You have to have a mix of prime, young, and old. Because, those prime guys, they're not exactly experienced enough to, say like, oh yeah, we need to do this, this, and this. They might be good at, giving players advice. But those old guys like Ray Allen can say, to get open on three-point line, man, you gotta do something like that head fake that he did. He was gonna be telling old guys that, prime guys just do what they need to do to win. Old guys use their experience and intelligence to win. Young guys use their talent. And you need a mix of all that to combine to make a winning team. And that's what the Spurs had, and that's why they won. And that's what LeBron has never had to win. So I think at this point he's getting that because, he's the guy that's in his prime. Kyrie is getting into his prime. Varejao is that experienced guy. They've got young guys like Wiggins, there. And they can build that up. Kevin Love, I would say, is in his prime. If they end up somehow getting him, which I'm sure they will in next season's offseason. And, they'll have that 3 first-round pick young talent, and that'll be good for them. Whatever they can do to mix that all together will be why they win a championship and how they win a championship. And I just wanted to say this. I've been thinking about it. That's their whole thing. That's the only way. This is my thoughts on LeBron going there because he probably sees that as, they've got the young talent here. They've got the prime players like him here, and they've got a little bit of that experience. Not enough to win a championship, though. They don't have enough young talent that can win them games, Andrew Wiggins could go out there and win them a game because, LeBron might be off or Kyrie's having a great game and so is LeBron, but the rest of their team is off. Andrew Wiggins can go out there and step it up. So can Anthony Bennett. And they have the prime and they have the young talent, but they don't have the experience and they don't have the bench young talent. They have good bench players, but they're not young talent. And that's, I think, all they will need. I think they can do that in a year and a half, 2 years. I think that will be easy for them. And I say a year and a half to 2 years, not including the season coming up. I would say half the season. Halfway through, they could say, because that's where the trades are all done. Maybe then they can get a start of more of a championship team. I know this, guys, is a long video. Sorry. But I just think that's all they need. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys like this video. Comment your thoughts. If you leave a dislike, tell us what you dislike. Tell us what we need to do to get us better. And thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out, Girl Scout.